How nations fake their own wealth. We trust the numbers. Nations publish GDP, debt, reserves, growth rates. They look precise, to the decimal place. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Countries lie. They all do. Some exaggerate their growth. Some hide their debt. Some inflate fake numbers just to survive. And the global economy runs on these illusions. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden tricks nations use to fake their own wealth and why the world keeps believing them. The modern illusion factory in the 20th century, national wealth was gold. A simple number, how much metal you stored in vaults. But after the 1970s, we shifted to something new. Narrative-based wealth. A country's value became its projected growth, its ability to attract investors, its confidence in the global markets and numbers produced by bureaucrats, not vaults. This created a dangerous incentive. If wealth is now a story, then the nations who tell the best story win. GDP. The biggest magic trick in economics. GDP looks scientific, but it's one of the easiest numbers to manipulate. Countries inflate GDP by counting government spending as growth, adding illegal markets. Italy, 2014, including prostitution and drugs, several EU nations overstating business inventories, counting state-owned enterprise losses as output. China's famous for this. Local officials must hit growth targets, so they build empty cities, useless airports, unneeded highways, all counted as GDP growth. China's own premier once said, GDP is man-made, and for reference only, in outer wards. Even the creators know GDP is fiction. The debt-disappearing trick nations hide debt, the same way companies cook their books. Off-balance sheet liabilities, promises the government makes but doesn't count. These include underfunded pensions, state-owned company debt, regional debt, guarantees to failing banks, unfunded social benefits. The United States reports $34 trillion in debt. But hidden liabilities exceed $200 trillion, depending on estimates. Japan's corporate debt is often shadow debt. China's local government financing vehicles hide trillions. Europe hides pension obligations off the record. Every economy looks healthier than it actually is. Currency manipulation. The oldest trick, this is simple. A strong currency makes your nation look richer. A weak currency makes your exports competitive. Countries strategically peg, manage, suppress, or float their currencies to present a specific image to the world. China keeps the yuan undervalued. Switzerland intervenes to keep the franc from rising. The UK attempted manipulation in the 1990s and lost billions. Currency value is supposed to reflect market reality, but behind the scenes, it's often a controlled illusion. Asset mirage, artificially inflated wealth. Some nations deliberately pump up asset prices to make citizens feel wealthier. This creates booming stock markets, rapidly rising property values, government surpluses. Strong economic narrative, but this wealth is not real. When Japan did this in the 1980s, its stock market and property values became the largest in the world, larger than the entire US. Then they collapsed. The illusion vanished overnight. Japan never fully recovered. China's property market is repeating the pattern. Evergrande was only the beginning. Hidden reserves, the illusion of stability countries boast about. Foreign reserves, gold holdings, sovereign wealth funds, but the real numbers, often opaque. China's central bank posts monthly reserves, but doesn't disclose. Offshore holdings, swap lines, shadow reserves, state-owned bank reserves. Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund appears massive, but much of it is oil revenue. Already nations exaggerate financial strength to maintain global confidence. Because confidence is the economy. Why the world accepts the lies. If everyone knows the numbers are manipulated, why does this system continue? Because investors need stability, governments need predictable partners. Trade relies on certainty, markets rely on narratives, and nobody wants to admit the truth. The global economy is a stage, and every nation is performing. If one country stops telling a confident story, it risks collapse. So instead of transparency, the world prefers beautiful lies. The final twist is when you hear a government announce, Our GDP grew 7%. Our debt is manageable. Our currency is stable. Our reserves are strong. Remember this: national wealth isn't what countries have. It's what they can convince the world they have. And as long as nations keep faking wealth, the biggest illusion of all is believing that anyone actually knows how rich the world truly is. If you're still here, you already sense the pattern. Most people hear stories like this and move on. But the few who subscribe, they're the ones who notice how these patterns repeat in markets, in governments, and in their own lives. So, if you want to understand not just what happened, but what's coming next, join the people who refuse to be surprised by history ever again. Subscribe